The automotive world has witnessed countless product launches that promised to revolutionize the market, only to fade into obscurity within a few years. While some luxury cars struggle due to mechanical failures or poor design choices, others quietly vanish despite being well-engineered and thoughtfully designed vehicles. These forgotten luxury automobiles represent fascinating case studies in how market timing, pricing strategies, brand positioning, and consumer sentiment can determine a vehicle's fate, sometimes regardless of its actual quality. The Maybach brand stands as one of the most poignant examples of a luxury nameplate that essentially disappeared from public consciousness. When Daimler revived the ultra-luxury market in 2002 after a 50-year hiatus, it was positioned as a competitor to Rolls-Royce and Bentley, offering opulence and engineering excellence. The original Maybach was a technical masterpiece featuring a twin-turbocharged V12 engine, handcrafted interior appointments, and a price tag exceeding $100,000. However, despite critical acclaim and genuine engineering prowess, the brand failed to capture the imagination of ultra-wealthy buyers who preferred the heritage and cachet of established competitors. By 2013, Daimler discontinued the Maybach line, only to resurrect it years later as a ultra-luxury Mercedes variant, essentially acknowledging that the standalone brand couldn't command sufficient market presence. The Jaguar XJ220 represents another curious case of a supercar that blazed brilliantly but briefly. Introduced in 1992 as Jaguar's flagship supercar, the XJ220 was technologically advanced for its time, featuring a twin-turbocharged V6 engine and impressive performance credentials. The car appeared destined for success given the hype surrounding its launch and the prestige of the Jaguar nameplate. Yet, the vehicle faced an uncertain market during an economic recession, coupled with performance expectations that didn't quite match its astronomical price tag. Only about 270 cars were produced before production ceased in 1994, making it a rarity that has since largely faded from mainstream automotive discussion, despite its technical significance. The Bugatti Veyron's discontinuation in 2015 surprised many who assumed the legendary hypercar would continue indefinitely. While the Veyron achieved fame during its 16-year production run, the market for vehicles costing over $1 million proved surprisingly limited. Only about 450 units were manufactured across its entire life cycle, making it exclusive but ultimately disappearing from Bugatti's lineup without the fanfare one might expect. The company replaced it with the even more exclusive Chiron, but the Veyron's fading from public consciousness demonstrates how even iconic supercars can become forgotten when replaced by newer models. The Rolls-Royce Phantom Drophead Coupe presents an interesting case of a luxury vehicle that technically still exists but has largely vanished from roads and popular memory. Produced from 2007 to 2017, this ultra-luxury convertible was extraordinarily expensive and incredibly exclusive, with only a few hundred produced. Its very exclusivity and high cost meant that ownership remained confined to an extremely limited clientele. And the car essentially disappeared from public view simply because so few existed and wealthy owners seldom drove them regularly on public roads. The BMW 7 Series Active Hybrid exemplifies how technology that seemed promising can lead to models that quietly disappear. This hybrid luxury sedan was introduced as BMW's answer to eco-conscious luxury buyers, combining the prestige of the 7 Series with hybrid technology. However, the vehicle suffered from mediocre fuel economy improvements that didn't justify its substantial premium over conventional models. The active hybrid line was eventually discontinued as BMW shifted focus toward fully electric vehicles, leaving the model as a forgotten footnote in the brand's history. The Cadillac 16 concept car that eventually became the Cadillac DTS represented American luxury ambition that failed to materialize as envisioned. While the 16 was never actually produced as shown, the subsequent DTS that followed in its spiritual wake never achieved the status or market penetration that Cadillac hoped. The vehicle quietly disappeared as Cadillac transitioned its lineup, with few remembering this ambitious flagship sedan that once represented the brand's vision for American luxury. The Lexus LFA stands as perhaps the most technically impressive car to have quietly faded from memory. This carbon fiber hypercar with a screaming naturally aspirated V10 engine was a technological marvel that cost nearly $400,000. Only 500 units were ever produced during its brief production run from 2010 to 2012. The LFA represents a moment when Toyota's luxury brand briefly attempted to compete in the hypercar segment, only to realize the market was simply too small and too specialized for sustainable production. The Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren, despite being a stunning achievement in automotive engineering and design, has largely vanished from discussion and roads. This collaboration between Mercedes and McLaren produced only about 3,900 cars between 2003 and 2009. The vehicle was brilliantly engineered with a supercharged V8 engine and innovative design, yet it has become almost forgotten in the current automotive landscape, overshadowed by subsequent offerings from both brands. The Jaguar XE, while not technically vanished entirely, has largely faded from relevance in the luxury sedan segment. Launched with considerable fanfare in 2015 as Jaguar's entry into the competitive sports sedan market, the XE failed to gain sufficient traction against established competitors like the BMW 3 Series and Audi A4. The vehicle never achieved the sales volumes or market presence that justified its initial investment, eventually disappearing from dealership showrooms as Jaguar refocused its lineup toward SUVs and electric vehicles. The Bentley Brooklyn's name represented a return to classic Bentley styling and heritage, yet this luxury coupe quietly disappeared after a relatively brief production run. Introduced in 2007 as a celebration of Bentley's racing heritage, the Brooklyns never captured sufficient market demand to warrant extended production. Despite appealing to enthusiasts who appreciated its elegant design and connection to Bentley's storied past. What these vehicles share is not mechanical failure or engineering inadequacy, but rather a fundamental mismatch between their positioning, market demand, and sometimes unfortunate timing. The automotive industry is ruthless in its assessment of commercial viability, regardless of a vehicle's technical merit or design excellence. A luxury car might be extraordinarily well engineered and beautifully designed, yet still disappear quietly if it fails to justify its investment through adequate sales, if market conditions shift unexpectedly, or if brand perception proves insufficient to command necessary premiums. These forgotten luxury vehicles serve as reminders that automotive success depends on far more than technical excellence or aesthetic appeal. Consumer perception, market timing, brand heritage, and pricing strategy all play crucial roles in determining whether a new luxury vehicle becomes an iconic success or quietly fades into obscurity. While automotive enthusiasts might remember these vehicles with appreciation for their qualities, they have largely vanished from mainstream automotive discourse and from the roads that once exhibited them, becoming curiosities for those who study automotive history